Yo, so whatever blows your hair back, we just had Bobby Hitz. What do you think, Tyler?
Dude's a badass.
That's it. One word.
Dude's a badass.
So now you just gotta watch it.
Whatever blows your hair back. Get your
Bobby, tell us, so you're Chicago's own, right? You're homegrown?
Homegrown Chicago, and yeah, born and raised.
What part of Chicago were you?
Originally the west side, Chicago Avenue in Laramie, not far from here. Actually, from where we're at now, my grandfather had a store on Grand Avenue. I spent a lot of time there as a kid, and with all the fellas were there, and a lot of stuff going on. And as a young kid, it was fun to go by my papa's store all the time with him. Yeah,
Nice.
Not far from here.
So, you growing up, did you always kind of know that you were going to be in boxing? Like, when did that moment? What was that moment that?
For some reason, I always liked it. I always gravitated to it. I can remember my earliest memories were I think first grade. Me and a buddy of mine, we were in Catholic school, and Bobby Mraz is his name, and we're still buddies to this day. But we beat up a couple fourth graders because it was Muhammad Ali fighting Joe Frazier.
Yeah.
And they wanted Joe Frazier and we wanted Ali, and we had this argument with them in the playground, and we beat them up because of it. So as far back as I can remember, I was just obviously intrigued with the sport of boxing for some reason.
When was that moment that you said, when you decided that you were actually going to start training, formally training and going into a boxing gym and putting the gloves on and the whole 9 yards?
I had gotten boxing gloves from Santa Claus. I was probably maybe in 7th grade. Santa Claus, he still exists, okay? If you don't believe, you're getting nothing. So Santa brought me some boxing gloves. And we used to hold tournaments with my friends, my brother, everybody here, put these on, and we used to fight. We didn't know what the hell we were doing, just punching the crap out of each other. And so I liked it then. And I used to go, when we lived on the west side, I used to go to La Follette Park and just sneak in there and watch the guys train. Then when we moved out to the burbs, my nanny and papa still lived in the neighborhood. So when I'd go visit them, I would sneak off to the park and go watch the guys train. And the trainer there was Pat LaCasa, who later on became my trainer, which he was the absolute best of the best. Every guy he had was tough, and he brought a lot of toughness in me, and I love him for that. He recently passed, and we were very close. We still maintained a friendship even long after. I stopped boxing in 1990, and our friendship never waned, and the phone calls and the laughter and everything else just continued. He was a very special guy to me. But not knowing him, and it's kind of funny how it works out, because you're reading in magazines about guys. You're, watching back when I was a kid, boxing was on, and now if you guys could understand this, because you guys are young, there was maybe only 12 channels in the whole world. So on CBS, NBC, and ABC, Saturdays and Sundays, there were fights on all the time. So literally, I don't care what was going on, I'd be home just watching the fights, and I just loved it. And maybe it's, my grandfather would talk about it. My father was a football guy, so boxing wasn't part of our household. It's just something I liked. I don't know why I liked it, I just liked it.
But your parents were always supportive of?
Well, my life is don't try this at home type life.
Yeah.
So I think they got to a point where they were supportive of anything that kept me out of trouble.
Yeah.
Because, because, it was like school, I didn't like school.
Beating up fourth graders?
Well, I was only in first grade or second grade, so that was a pretty good accomplishment. Yeah, it was a pretty good accomplishment. We always strive to be higher than what we were.
I didn't mention you were in first grade, so
right. So that's a big accomplishment. So it was something when we lived in the burbs and the gym had opened up, I had gone to the gym. Now I didn't really start formally training till I was maybe a sophomore or junior in high school, where I went to my first actual training session in a gym. And literally after one day in the gym,
that was it.
But I remember my friend was having a party, and he was the guy. Mom and dad divorced. His mom worked nights. Parties were at his house all the time. This guy was the quarterback of our football team. So his house was party central. So we're having a party there, and I'm sitting in the kitchen. I have a towel around my neck, and everybody's drinking beer. I'm drinking wine. And the girls are all like, why are you drinking wine? Now, we're in high school still. We're drinking wine. I'm like, and my cousin Dean's, he's going, oh, he has a big fight coming up. Like, I didn't have a fight coming up. It's like, but like, we were just now I'm laying off beer drinking wine now because I'm a fighter. It makes sense out of that.
You were walking the talk, or at least
Well,
trying
to.
right?
Trying to bullshit my way. Anyways, it wasn't until I got out. I couldn't play football anymore because I had bad grades, and football was my love went. It was motocross. That's the Honda had. Football, and then boxing was like the third thing. So I'm like, okay. So I left high school voluntarily. I was kind of asked to leave, but I left voluntarily because at the rate I was going, I would probably still be in high school because I went every day for the social experience. I just didn't.
Yeah, you didn't see it.
Social experience, the social part's important though. Like that's where
very
you get your
important.
friends and network.
You know, in my school, you needed 16 credits to graduate. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
But after 4 years of high school, I had 1 credit. I had 1. What class you think I passed?
Phys ed.
Nope. Didn't even pass gym.
How'd you,
Nope.
how would you
Not
like
even
that?
cooking. Business with a B plus in business.
Oh.
So, like I had, in my exit interview with the dean of Mr. Laley, the dean, he says to me, well, he goes, do me a favor, when you go for a job, he says, use me as a reference because I'll give you a good reference. He said, because high school's not made for everybody. I have a feeling you're going to be okay even without school. He said, and then put down you graduated because nobody ever checks. I said, Mr. Laley, I appreciate that. He said, but I don't think I'll have to do that. He goes, why? I said, well, I'm going to work for myself. So I'm not going to go for a job. And he's like,
wow, that's
what are you
impressive.
going to, he goes, what are you going to do? I go, I don't know, I'll figure it out. He goes, and back then I had a rock and roll band. I was a lead singer in a rock and roll band. So I'm like, he goes, well, you have that band thing. Maybe you could pursue that. I said, well, we'll see where it goes. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something.
Hey, this guy's pretty positive though. He's helping you out.
Really great.
Hey, to tell people.
To me, what's the most impressive is that like in high school, you're failing every class, and from that moment, like people could see it in you that you had it. Like you didn't, it wasn't.
Well, I think my saving grace is that you have to have a certain level of confidence. You have to, I think you have to have a vision and have an idea, and you have to plan your work and work your plan. And I think I became a fighter out of just pure chance, pure luck. It was like I had nothing else going, and 2 friends and myself went to the boxing gym that had just opened. It was actually strategically placed right behind my house. So, because for some reason they had built the police station right behind my house, which was kind of odd. So I would hop, I would hop the fence. So when literally my whole from 5th grade till motocross, I was on my dirt bike every day, and that was the only thing that my parents could use as a bargaining chip. We're going to take your motorcycle away from you.
That was your port's that's how your transportation too.
Right, but that didn't matter to me. Then in high school, junior year, my mother said, listen, get straight C's, and the hottest car back then was the Trans Am because of Smokey and the Bandit.
Straight C's.
I'm going to buy you a Trans Am if you get straight C's. Think about straight
They're
C's.
hooking you up.
I couldn't even do that either.
Damn.
So like to me, I walked to the beat of my own drum always. So then I got into boxing. And I remember the first day we're in the gym and we're working out. Larry Holmes is fighting Ronaldo Snipes. And they brought the TV in and we're all watching the fight. And I turned to the trainer, I said, hey, do you think I'll ever be able to fight Larry Holmes? And he goes, kid, it's your first day in the gym, take it easy.
Yeah.
He goes, well, maybe one day you could be a pro fighter. And I'm like, so like my life just kind of happened. There wasn't really, that aspect of it wasn't a plan. I didn't really have a plan until, I guess I never really had a plan. I just had a vision, I guess. Not really a secured plan until I got into business and I planned my business strategies. But falling into the restaurant business, falling into acting, falling into boxing, none of those things were planned. They weren't calculated.
Side prep though. They hit you from you were chasing something else.
They were never like, I'm gonna do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
But once I did it, I said, here's what I'm going to do with it.
To make this succeed.
Maybe you were
you
looking
know-
for something at that time, and then you found it, and you're like,
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah,
You guys are
me
too young to remember that song. There was a song called that. You guys
Yeah,
are too young.
it's
You guys are
still
young
real.
for a lot of shit. I gotta be honest with you. You know, it's hard for me to be around you two guys. You're too young.
it's all right, man. We're gonna find some
back,
common ground.
back to the boxing though. First fight. What is like? Were your first fight where you remember that you had like you were
My
this was
first
gonna
fight
go on a
ever.
card,
My first
where-
fight
where
ever.
it
My
was gonna
first
go on your
amateur
record?
fight.
Yeah.
First fight in the ring.
Yeah.
In the
Okay.
ring.
Yeah,
So
where
that
you-
was a CYO championship. I was in the championship of the CYO.
CYO, what's that?
Catholic Youth Organization. It was a big tournament here in Chicago for a long time. And yeah, I mean, I beat this guy from ring post to ring post for 2 rounds. The third round, I was gassed, I was tired, and I lost like a split decision or something. And I was fuming because I thought I won the fight.
Yeah.
And I'm in the locker room, and my dad's in there with me, and and I'm carrying on, and I said, I'm gonna go get that motherfucker. He goes, hey, hang on. You just had 3 rounds with the guy and you didn't win. It's that easy. Gee, Dad, thanks. You know what I mean? So it's like my dad was always the voice of reason.
Yeah.
So then that drove me, and then a year later, I won the super heavyweight championship of the Chicago Golden Gloves. Then a year and a half after that, I turned pro. Never like turning pro was kind of, it just happened once again. I literally was running in my neighborhood. I do my road work every day, and I run by this barber shop every day. And the barber came out one day, hey kid, come here, with the barber smock on, he had that thing going, you know what I mean? It's like old school barber shop.
Traditional,
He goes, every day I see you run by here every day, every single, he goes, what are you running for? I said, well, I'm a boxer. He goes, do you have a manager? I go, no. He goes, okay, I'm gonna be your manager. I go, okay, I'll come back tomorrow and see you. and literally that's how it
It
happened.
just fell on your lap. Yeah.
Right, and so then he's like, I want you to meet my brother-in-law. So now here's where it gets really, it takes a movie-esque type turn. So there's a big festival in town, and earlier before we started doing this, we talked about Donnie Brasco, all that kind of shit, right? So we're walking through. I meet the barber. We're walking through the festival. Then there's a guy standing in front of a booth with the Zanzibar slacks on, with the dress shirt, with the tank top underneath, with the shirts unbuttoned, with the glasses on. Like he personified an outfit guy. You know what I mean? It was
Or a
like,
mob guy. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's like, oh, this my brother, he's going to be part of the management team. I'm like, okay, and it just went from there.
So they were kind of sponsoring the whole your
Well,
fights.
they got motivated seeing you doing all that running. Like, man,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy's got it.
Well,
Every day he's on the road.
So what
no
do
one's
these guys
pushing
do
him.
for you specifically?
Well,
Got you in, man. They got you in the end.
it got me started, and then my intelligence kicked in, and I started to see the lay of the land and what direction I needed to go, and I went off on my own because it wasn't going the way I wanted it to. But to me, the big thing in life is loyalty, trust, and respect. And being loyal can only go both ways to work.
Of course.
And not that they weren't loyal to me, not that they weren't, to them it was just a business. And I was too young and too fresh to get it. But these are all great experiences because it's helped me in my endeavor to be a promoter. Everything that I went through, I want not to happen to any
Yeah, for
fighter
sure, yeah.
that's with me.
Yeah, of
And
course.
so I know what to look for. I know the signs. I know the way a guy talks, how he's going to be. It's just, to me, like, I can boastfully say I'm really good at boxing. I'm really good at it because I get it. And, unfortunately, doing what I do, I get a bad reputation. I get a bum rap. I'm a bad guy. I'm a this, I'm a that. But if you ask anybody, what did I ever really do to anybody? No one could ever point anything out because let's take a fighter, for instance. I meet with a new fighter and I say, I want to sign you. And the first thing they say is, well, I don't want to be taken advantage of. And I'll say, well, wait, stop the conversation right there. Take advantage of? I said, there's 2 people sitting at this table. There's only one of us that can be taken advantage of. And guess who it's not? It's not you. because you don't have anything.
You're putting the risk. It's all
You
the
don't
risk
have
on
anything to
you.
take advantage. Not that you're not going to have something, and I mean this with all due respect. If the day comes, and I say this all the time, this is part of my, it's not even a speech, it's part of reality when I talk to a fighter. If the day comes that you are ever able to be taken advantage of, we're all going to go to church. We're going to praise the Lord above for blessing us, because that on that given day, that means you became somebody in boxing. If you have something somebody can take. So, but see, there's a lot of these guys around here who run these gyms and do stuff to try to put that in fighters' heads, when in all actuality, they're the ones actually trying to take advantage of the kid, so they're manipulating the kid into telling him that Bobby Hitz is the bad guy, even though I'm the guy doing the shows, I'm the guy spending the money, I'm the guy taking the risk to build your career, but yet I'm the bad guy. But the kids, it's like a guy who sees a girl and she has a boyfriend, but the guy wants the girl so bad. So the only way he can get her, he can't get her with his looks or his pocketbook or anything. So the only way he can get the girl is by saying, oh, your boyfriend's this, your boyfriend's that, all these things, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only way he could try to dirty the guy up. So that's the same thing that goes on in boxing here. And it's actually really disgusting, and it sickens me, because you know what? Let your body of work speak for itself. If you have to put somebody down to make your play, like, what does it say about you? And anyone that's dumb enough to buy into that play, and what's been really refreshing, that I've gotten a lot of phone calls from guys recently that were surrounded by those kinds of guys, and they're like, look, I said, listen to me. First of all, before we start, you and I never did business. I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm certain you heard all the bad things about me.
For sure.
Everything. I said, so right now is the chance to ask me.
Yeah,
and guess what? When someone, like, they'll say, well, no one could ever really pinpoint anything. And so to me, that's the worst thing in the world. You know, and so I think what goes on a lot is lack of understanding. So what the fighters have to realize is that I understand what they do. I understand what the trainer does. The only job I never did in boxing was a cut man. I was never a cut man. So I could never tell a cut man what to do. But I can train a fighter. I can manage a fighter. I could promote a fighter.
What's a cut man?
It's a guy, when you get cut, he works on your cuts.
Oh, I got it.
I never did that. I'm squeamish with blood, especially my own. But anyways, so it's a situation to where, like, when you come with me as a fighter, you get a full service promoter without paying me the fees. You got some guy in the gym telling you all these things. He's going to take his 10 points as a trainer. He's going to take his 33 and a third points as a manager. Yet he's going to call me to do the job for you. So what I try to do is tell these guys, you don't need a manager. I will perform the service of a manager without taking a fee for it. Because first of all, I wouldn't do that. Secondly, it's illegal according to the Muhammad Ali Act. I can't do that.
Cutting the middleman out too, though. So, but you are cutting a job out of the platform that's always been there. Maybe that's where they get a little disgruntled.
Well, no, only because if there's a manager that's smarter than me, then I welcome him to come aboard, because a smart man knows what he doesn't know. And I like to surround myself with smart people, because I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I want a ton of brainy. I want brainiacs around me because I can only see things one way. I want you to tell me what you think. I want you, Mr. Cameraman, tell me what you think. I want to hear what you think, and then we try to figure a way. That's how you grow a business.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I support that.
So to me, I am not against knowledge. But when you have unfounded knowledge and uninformed knowledge and knowledge that you saw in some handbook somewhere that you think this is how it's supposed to go, and I love to find that fucking handbook and throw it in the fireplace because it doesn't exist. It's crazy. So
you're trying. Oh, all right. So you're basically saying this job don't even deserve a position. Why was it even there? The leader of boxing, basically in Chicago. You want to take that out, and you're going to re-script it and be like, I'll manage you. You're going to get more money.
I won't even manage you. But at the end of the day,
his career.
But in managing a guy's career is just picking the right fights to build you. So at the end of the day, if you're the fighter and you're the manager, I'm just going to call you and say, hey, I got Pretty Boy a fight. I got Pretty Boy over to fight. We're going to call you Pretty Boy because you're a handsome motherfucker. And you're going to say yes, so you're going to go back to him. But so a guy as a manager nowadays is more of an investor if he's going to put up money for his end.
I agree.
An investor. He's not a manager.
He's looking for a plug. He wants to be part of the game.
Right.
Though. So you're saying he has no play in the game? We got to kick him out?
Well, not that he has to get out, but what's
Where's
his
he go? Where's he go?
what's his knowledge?
But where does that guy go? Because
Here.
he's interested in boxing.
Okay, invest your money
boxing.
invest your money into the fighter and sit back and just watch it happen.
Private investors where he's got to go.
Well, that's
So if you want to fix that problem, we actually got to put that guy somewhere. Because I know it, in real estate it's similar. There's people I just don't think belong in the game
Right.
of real estate.
Right.
How do we get rid of them? I want to get rid of them. And so you're kind of just like, fuck it, I'm going to get rid of them individually.
well,
we got to make it stick.
Well,
we got
then
to make it stick.
But then
I want to
there-
get rid of some people too.
But then there's certain managers in this town that are their biggest fan. They tag themselves in everything and make themselves everything. I don't think there's any place for that either. Everybody has a pecking order. Let it be about the fighter. Let it be about the fighter. Let's build a fighter, build a fighter. Forget about you because we are unimportant. I know I'm not important. I'm not important at all. These fighters don't care about me. If I never did a show again, I got a handful of guys that might call me and see how I'm doing. But I realize that I'm not important to
true.
anybody.
That's true.
Except to my family and my friends.
So I saw like you fought some pretty big names.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
You did.
We ain't talking about that. all
You
right?
did.
All right.
You don't want to talk about that
You know, it's
because I mean I watched some of your fights.
okay, but
And then I was pretty impressed.
no, but I wasn't because it, first of all, it wasn't indicative of my talent. Secondly, those fights were all short notice. I had no one really guiding me or directing me, and it was shot taking. It was taking a shot because if you get lucky, you get lucky.
So basically when you're talking about what you were just explaining is
Right.
that's what you're getting at is that
Yeah.
you don't want these fighters to be put in
Right.
the same position that you were.
Yeah.
Right, and so I have the experience, and I tell these guys, listen, if your car breaks down, you go to a mechanic. You get a toothache, you go to a dentist. You want to be in boxing. I have 30 years as a promoter under my belt. I have built hundreds of fighters. I've gotten a dozen guys at least to the promised land, which is world titles. I've gotten more than that to national or regional titles. It's like, only thing I can't do for you is fight for you. But I can give you the platform and the pathway to be successful, but you got to help me be there. And I try to tell these guys, listen, boxing's a 4-lane highway. And I don't want any of you pretenders out there using my analogies, okay? These are mine, they're patented by me, but I'm going to tell you anyways, okay? It's a 4-lane highway. Fighter fights, trainer trains, manager manages, and promoter promotes, right?
You just took the manager out though.
We're just gonna
putting them into play
We're giving
now.
it because it's a
All right,
4-lane
we're giving
highway.
them- all right, we're giving
We
them-
see very few 3-lane highways. There's always a 4-lane highway. But now here's what happens. All of a sudden, the manager tries to fight, the fighter tries to train, the promoter starts to manage, and what do you have?
Shit
A
show.
traffic jam and a fucking car accident.
Yeah.
If everybody and everybody uses stay in your lane, stay in your lane, and they use that in all kinds of terms. If a guy wants to get cocked off and say something, hey bro, stay in your lane. You know what I mean? So stay in the lane has many meanings. It's like in the movie Donnie Brasco. Forget about it.
Yeah,
Forget about it can mean a lot of
yeah,
things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's the same scenario. So at the end of the day, if I am allowed to do my job without any negative or silly interference, which you get a lot of, then we could have success. But when my job is being hindered because I'm dealing with mostly silliness, how am I supposed to be effective? How am I supposed to be effective?
Yeah.
So,
So, you had your boxing career. When did you decide that it was time to call it quits as a professional boxer?
it kind of decided for me, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I had gotten injured in a fight. I'd gotten injured, and just a crazy, silly injury. And then I laid off. Then I was going to make a comeback. And so I was in the gym making a comeback. I had come from Detroit where I had honed out my Harvard education in boxing. I was around, Emanuel Stewart, Tommy Hearns, the greats in the business, guys that you just read about in magazines, which I referenced earlier. All of a sudden, I'm rubbing shoulders with Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Bob Arum,
sparring
Don
with
King.
these guys, or-
well,
Yeah.
we're just around each other all the
Yeah.
time, and some of the greats. So Jackie Callan, who became famous, James Toney was in our stable, and I was her first fighter, and James was in the gym training, and I kind of helped structure that deal. But along the way, I helped in the guidance of him to the world championship and being involved in researching the fighters and picking his fights. So my Harvard education became it became second to none. So when I came back, and that was Michael Nunn's nickname, even though James knocked you out, didn't mean to use your name in this. Anyways, so when I got back to Chicago, I took off about a year, and I was like, I miss boxing. I was young still. Like, I'm gonna make a comeback.
About how old were you at that point?
Geez, I was 31 maybe.
Would you say that's young in boxing? 31?
Nowadays, sure. 30 is the new 18.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I started going to the gym, started training, and my trainer was Pat LaCasa, who I referenced earlier. He was like, none of these guys have any fights going on, nothing's happening. You learned a lot about this business being gone. Why don't you be a promoter? So I went back, in the great Emmanuel Stewart, do you know who he is?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know what the Easter Bunny is, right?
I know the Easter Bunny is.
So he is what the Easter Bunny is to Easter. Emmanuel Stewart is that to boxing. And I only reference Easter Bunny because we're coming upon Easter, okay?
Oh,
Anyways,
we are, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You know who Emmanuel Stewart was, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know what the Easter Bunny is, though.
No, he doesn't. He's a heathen. Anyways, it's all about God, though. Anyways, so Emmanuel Stewart is a Hall of Famer, one of the all-time greats in the business, and I was very close with him. And we were in Atlantic City one day, and during my injury, I would be on our team. I would be the guy. And back then, when you could travel without, what's it, ATF? What's it? What do you had to go through?
TSA?
Yeah, ATF, TSA, whatever it is. Okay, I'm old school. So like literally, you'd go to the airport, you'd have 20 guys with you, you check everybody in, no IDs. It was just an easy. So literally, my job was to make sure everybody was on the plane. We're supposed to be, get to the hotel, check everybody, here's your keys. Like, I was doing all this grunt work, but all along learning everything about the business of boxing.
Sure, yeah, the logistics of it.
So Emmanuel said to me, he goes, come here, and we're on the stage, we're at the Resorts Casino. It's a ABC televised fight. Doug DeWitt is fighting Nigel Benn in a fucking war. It was a blistering war. Go back and look at that fight someday. And he says, hey, Bobby, let me talk to you a minute. So we're on the stage, we're watching the fight, we're looking at the fight, but we're talking. He says, I've been watching you. He says, you got a really good knack for this business. He said, when you ever decide you're actually officially done fighting, I'd like to offer you two things. He says, number one, if you want to come and study under me and become an understudy and be a trainer with me, he goes, I think you'd be fantastic. He says, but another job I think you'd be really great at would be a promoter. You should be a promoter. I said, well, thanks, Manny. I appreciate that. He says, in here, once I was done fighting, I was in a business for about a year and I didn't like it. And I was in the gym going to make a comeback because that's all I knew. And the manual conversation came to my head when my trainer said to me, you saw what was going on, you saw this, you saw that, you should be a promoter. And Pat said to me, you should start promoting fights for these guys. And I'm like, well, what about my comeback? He said, well, you could probably still do both. So I went home that night and I made a decision. If I'm going to do this 100%, I'm going to forego my comeback so I can give my all
Can't cross lanes.
to these fighters and to my promotion. So that's what I did. And 30 years later, we're still doing it. So I gave up one of my final dreams as a fighter to go fight again to give to these fighters.
Yeah.
So the sacrifice that I have made to be a promoter has been immense, and that's what nobody understands. I mean, I remember when I was married and my wife, I had nothing going on. It was 4th of July weekend. We were going on a trip to Jamaica with my son, and we're going. Like 2 days before, I get a call from one of my guys to fight in Palm Springs for a minor championship. It was a big fight for him. And I'm like, listen, I can't go on the trip. What do you mean? I go, I got Pat fighting and we got to take this fight. She says, what do you mean? I said, I have to do this. So I said, hang on, let's go. So I flew to Jamaica with my family, spent the next day and a half making flight arrangements to get out of Jamaica and come back to Chicago to fly to Palm Springs to be there for my fighter's fight. Now, I gave up a family vacation with my infant son, all that memory for the sport and the business of boxing. And that's the level of dedication that you have to be able to give, right, wrong, or indifferent. You know, fast forward, that's my phone ringing again. Ignore my phone, it rings all the time. Shut that off.
Just put it on silent.
He's not smart enough. Rick, come on. Anyways. We need the background noise. Anyways.
No, it's all good.
No, it's all good.
Something's happening.
Listen, this is impromptu. Right, those are all business. That's my business ring.
All right.
So anyways, you fast forward to...
You took that fighting palm strings.
I went, and then I had to hear about it the rest of my life. Fast forward, fast forward to a couple years ago, my girlfriend's son's getting married, and all of a sudden I get a big major fight for my heavyweight at the time that I had on Showtime, major fight in an arena where I had a bad experience 6 months earlier with my Lithuanian fighter, Donatas Bandas, who was fighting the #1 contender, beating the tar out of him. We're winning the fight. He gets cut on the bridge of his nose. The referee asks him, you know, can you see, are you okay? And in his broken English says, I can see, but it's not like he said he can't see. And the guy stops the fight and we lose the fight, even though he's fighting the #1 contender. That win there would have catapulted us to a world title. So the idea of losing my investment, my fighter losing that fight, everything getting just knocked down because of a bad decision.
Yeah.
And even ESPN put me in like their plays of days because I jumped in the ring screaming and yelling at the referee. I'm like, do you fucking speak Lithuanian? You know, like what the... So now, 6 months later, you fast forward to that, and I have a fighter of Russian descent from Russia fighting on Showtime in the same place, same arena, same referee. I'm like, I can't take that risk again and not be there. And that was like 5 years ago. And so I couldn't go to the wedding. And to this day, I still hear about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was in New York for the fight. Muhammad Ali passes away. Comcast calls me and said, listen, would you like to be on the broadcast of his funeral? So I flew back on a day's notice. They flew me back. I went to the studio. We broadcast Muhammad Ali's funeral. So we're in the studio talking about Ali, talking about all our experiences. I'm like, oh, in the crowd, there's so and so. It was like, you know, we were commentating the greatest of all time's funeral.
Yep.
Then I had to get rushed back to the airport, jump on a plane, and get back in time for the fight. But so I forego my personal life for my business life. And at some point, what's the trade-off? What's the payoff? And is it worth it? Well,
was it? What do you think?
Looking back, the brain damage I received for those decisions has not been worth it. I can be honest with you. But I did it for the love of my business and the love of protection of my fighter.
Sacrifices. You gotta make it.
And you know what? And those are the things that nobody ever takes into consideration. Nobody ever thinks about what my job is. And that's the nice thing about my job is that I know my job, but I also know your job too. You don't know my job.
That's fair.
Then you get guys that come out here and want to play promoter. And they want to play promoter and have all these fucked up crazy ideas how to be a promoter. And all it does is it dilutes the sport and the business of boxing when you guys get guys doing it that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Who's a good example of a guy that does that comes in, thinks he's a promoter, gets out of his lane, fucks it up. His twin. Who is?
His twin. I don't remember his name.
We all remember
I would never speak his name.
Yeah, but where does a guy get produced? How do you produce a guy like his twin?
Because what happens is you get guys like these trainers.
So they're a trainer first. So they're coming from a training background. They're not boxers, right? They're not pros. You're saying you can't come up.
They get a business idea, and so to them, they look at it strictly as a business.
So they're not boxers, first off.
No,
You've never been punched in the face.
And even though you were punched in the face, doesn't make you qualified to be anything in the sport of boxing. Because a lot of guys that can't make that transition. How many guys that play football can't be a good coach? Just because you played the game doesn't make you qualified to do the business of it. There's an instinct, there's all sorts of things, but a lot of guys think that that's all you need to do is, well, I was a fighter. Well, that's not all you need to do.
Gotta have business.
Because I was a fighter too, and I wasn't the greatest fighter, but I think I'm a really good promoter. So what is, you know what I'm saying?
The business end of it.
Like I can handle myself, but
The only grade you got is business.
right, I
You
wasn't the
pass
greatest
it,
fighter.
What do you think? What do you think it takes to do the promoting scene?
Balls. Got to have balls. You got to be willing to take the beating. You got to be willing to take the abuse. You can't let these. You got to be willing to overlook
The loss in money.
everybody taking advantage of you. Because you guys, unfortunately, that's the truth. You guys do take advantage of us. In the business, people are the guys always getting the bad rep, but no one ever wants to focus on the fighter because they're like, well, the fighter's in the ring. He's fighting. Well, last time I checked, nobody showed up at your house with an AK-47 saying, come out of your house, you're going to be a fighter. You know what I mean? This is your choice. This is the path
It's
you
a
choose to
dream.
go down. And I got to tell you, I just was not that kind of fighter. Anytime I lost, I blamed one person. I blamed myself.
Sure.
I can't blame anybody else because I guess what? There's a word in the English language that's been known forever. It's called no. And all you have to do is say no. I didn't have to say yes to George Foreman on 4 days' notice. I could have said no, but what intrigued me? Money and opportunity. I didn't have to say yes to Pierre Kutzer, but what intrigued me? Money and opportunity. Especially coming out of a cast, I was in for 28 weeks. 7 days later, I'm in the ring fighting for the #1 spot in the world. How do I say no to that? After I already had a couple
incredible.
losses,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you say no to
That's a
that?
gap, too.
That's where opportunity, meets chance. But at the end of the day, you young guys starting out, no one's forcing you to be a fighter. Nobody. So if you choose to be a fighter, when a guy talks, just think about who's talking and why they're talking and what the fuck have they ever really accomplished.
That's what I do. I always think, like, what have you done? Watch it out.
Here,
Listen.
you and I met, and you heard a plethora of bad things about me. True or false?
True.
Any of it true?
I don't know yet.
Well,
Thus far, no. I haven't really got into grave detail or business with you. But as far as what I've heard, like, yeah, you're interested in like the mafia style. You like those movies. That's true.
interested in the what?
The mafia, like you talk, they do a lot of back.
I'm an actor. I'm an
For
actor.
sure.
I mean,
I'm just saying there's been things I heard about you, and I was like, yeah, that's true. Have you been called a dickhead? Have I heard it out lines? Yes, that's usually what a promoter gets is a dirty rat.
Right.
But I don't think they have any backstory on why. I think everyone just
Right.
hears it why you
But
say
here,
it.
you're a smart guy that's been very successful in what he does,
Correct.
and you have intuition.
Correct.
Would your intuition depict that any story you heard about me is true, or is what you see is what you get?
No, that's exactly why I came
Bingo.
and met you. That's
Right.
why I'm developing
Right.
my own character
Right.
reference on you.
Right.
What people said, some references did make sense to your character. I'm not saying it's what defined you.
But listen,
But I want to touch base on stories.
some
that-
guys are pussies, some guys aren't, some guys are, you know what I mean? Like I am a man's man. What you see is what you get. But what I am is honest.
I believe that you're
And
honest. And
honest-
I heard that too. That you're
Honest to a core, and you know why? For one reason, because I want to sleep at night, knowing I did the right thing. I have a son who's my junior, and I don't want him ever to walk into a place. Now, listen, everybody's not going to always like you, and I might be an acquired taste, but the ones that like me love me, and the ones that don't like me, ask them what they did to me. That's all, because I will fight for what's mine. I give everybody a fair shake until you try to fuck me. And then when I call you out on fucking me, all of a sudden I'm the bad guy.
For sure.
Well, hang on a minute. You were just trying to fuck me and I caught you speeding. How does that make me the bad guy?
Because you're willing to take it that far. That's
Fucking
the only
right.
difference.
I'm willing to call you out
Yeah,
on your
me too,
bullshit.
me too.
But in the same token, I overlook a lot of bullshit too.
Just because
But
you want to regulate
I
your
let-
sanity. Yeah, you want to regulate.
Because I know it's bullshit, and then everything comes out in the wash. And sure enough, there's guys that, pledge their allegiance to you. We're going to do this. The minute there's a BBD, that's the bigger, better deal, comes along, all of a sudden they don't return your phone calls, they forget about you, or they misrepresent themselves. And guess what, to me, how about just some transparency? Be honest with who you are, and everything's cool. Don't try to steal fighters. Don't try to dirty someone up for your own gain. Like, for what? I'm here to help everybody. Because at the end of the day, if I don't help you, I'm not helping myself. I have no reason not to help. Because it's a double-sided coin. I want help too. I want the heads you win, tails you lose. right?
Yeah.
So it seems like there's a lot of animosity in the
Yeah,
boxing
yeah,
industry.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what keeps you in it? What's your motivation to stay?
Because I'll be honest with you, I recognize the outside world. I just don't play into it.
Yeah.
But I recognize it.
But you love it, obviously, because that's why
You know,
you're
I
passionate
love
about
to
it.
hate it. I love to hate
yeah.
it. What I love the most is these young, eager kids that just want to be fighters, and they come to you with that vigor. And there's always that guy that keeps you going. Then you get the middle of the road veteran who thinks he's smarter than everybody, that pisses you the fuck off all the time.
Yeah.
And he can't win, he can't make any money, which means you can't make any money, yet he creates the biggest fucking problem. So he's the guy that you want to just say, fucking good riddance. Then you get the other guy that has a handful of fights against nobodies, that thinks he did something in his life and wants to be the loudest mouth in the fucking room, and he never did nothing. Then you find the old cagey veteran who's been there and looking for a rebirth in his career, and he comes to you and he finally gets it.
Yeah,
So like there's two ends of the business. That middle part sucks, but the beginning and the end are great, because those guys who are looking to make that comeback are sweet. They've been through all the bullshit. They see the realism behind what you do, and they're just looking for another opportunity, maybe their last opportunity.
I mean, it's kind of like, in my opinion, sorry,
Go ahead.
Tyler, but
See, I'm giving you guys the blueprint
yeah.
to my success.
I got,
But
a couple,
guess
I got
what?
a couple questions.
There's a million
too.
hamburger joints, only one McDonald's. Remember that.
I know, right?
well, my thing is that, you know, from hearing you speak, it's kind of like when, you know, watching Mike Tyson now. I mean, it's like, it's a philosophical guy. It's like, it's a different perspective.
In my era, that was George Foreman. George Foreman was the surly bastard who was uncontrollable. His second career, he was America's
Sweetest guy in the
sweetheart.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, he's a sweet guy. He's a great guy. Hits a little too fucking hard, but he's a nice guy. You know, he's a great
Literally,
guy.
no, I know.
And nothing but respect for that man. And anytime I've been in his company and his brother Roy's company, like nothing but respectful. His kids are respectful. Like to me, Joe Frazier, same thing, very respectful. His son Marvis, very respectful. You know, Tommy Hearns. Like, so these guys who have achieved the greatest level of the business are really, really nice, wholesome, good-hearted people.
I think that's earned. I think you got to get there. I think to feel that way. I think.
But then you get
gotta
these
go through the
guys.
process
But then
and
you get
grind
these
to get the
guys
result.
who they remind me of like jailhouse attorneys. Have you ever been locked up before?
I have.
You got that guy sitting in the cell next to you who's barking about, what do you got? Oh, you got a class X. Oh man, you're fucked. What do you got?
I was in community, man.
Well,
I
he's
was in community.
he's the guy you don't want to be behind when he goes in front of the judge. 'Cause he's going to piss the judge off, then you're going to catch it next. But you always got that guy there was always one guy in this town that would tell everybody what they should be getting. And here's a guy that didn't accomplish shit in his fucking career, yet he was the biggest mouth with all these fighters. You know,
I get it.
and it's horrible, because all they're doing, guys, is they're standing in your way of success because they're jealous. They don't want to see you succeed because they didn't succeed.
So we're talking about the trainer and promoter side again?
Well, a guy who maybe was a
We're
fighter
talking
became a
to the
trainer.
fighter? All right, all
Right, I'm talking to the fighter now, saying, don't listen to it. Carve your own path, make your own decisions, have your own mind, and when somebody gives you advice about anything, no matter what it is, just look and see what did they ever do and what did they ever accomplish. You know, so to me, that's the litmus test.
And then they drink the Kool-Aid, like, so that's you though.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Someone's got to drink yours though.
Yeah, but mine's proven.
All right,
That's true. You got to look at historical data.
No,
for
mine's
sure.
proven.
I agree.
Mine's
I agree.
proven year after year, decade after
You have
decade.
Proof of concept. You have
Mine's
proof of
proven.
concept. That's
Look
fair.
at my track record.
There it
Look at
is.
how many guys I've brought to the. Look at
Okay.
how many guys I've
That's
built.
the difference. That's the difference here. So when you want to
Listen.
break down difference between you and Joe Schmo, you're talking about you have credibility. They don't have credibility. That's why you would go with some. Let's talk about why a fighter should go with you versus going with one of these Joe Schmoes on the streets that's causing the problem in the game.
Track record. I have a track record.
That's it?
I have
Is that the- is that-
well, guess what?
That's starting.
I have a track record for success. And what you're going to get from me is you're going to get the truth. You're not going to get smoke blown up your ass, which I know most of you guys like. You like to hear how great you are, because it's my job to protect you from you.
And bring him down a little bit. Everyone's telling him how great
Well,
you
that's
are.
okay, because as a fighter, you need to have an ego. You need to have a belief in yourself. So I would never want to make a guy believe he's not anything but what he is. But there's times where you have to back a guy off. In the same token, a guy that beats his chest over beating a 1-11 guy, he should just shut the fuck up and say nothing. You know what I mean?
That's what I want to ask you
And
about.
not to mention, you need those kinds of guys, and I get it, but when you do that, fly under the radar, don't say nothing, go on to the next guy. Don't sit there and on social media act like you did something like
It's all about clout.
I got a question. What do you say to a guy who just lost his first fight? He feels like he's been wronged on his promotion. He starts playing the bad card. Guy was overweight, blah, blah, blah. What do you say to him when he comes to you? He fought on a different guy's card, and he comes up to you and goes, hey, can I fight for you now? And he just lost his very first fight. He's saying, because I got a bad promoter or someone didn't look out for me. You gave us the runaround like you just did.
Right.
And then what do you say to him? And how does this guy come back to his career?
Well, what I say to him is, listen, first of all, did you learn something? Whatever you learned, if you took something away from a loss, you actually won. That's first thing. Secondly, nobody can fight for you but you. And I know a lot of guys try to use the weight thing as a reason, whatever. But here's the thing. My trainer used to say, Bill Miller was he's one of the greats. He's trained probably 20 world champions. He used to say, if you train hard, do everything you're supposed to do, live right, and do this thing the right way, and you still lose, that just means the better man won.
That's fair.
Okay, that's
fair.
number one.
I believe that. I'm comfortable with the loss.
So to
That
me,
happens.
I would talk to them about that. I would talk to them about why is the rear view mirror so small and the windshield is so big? We don't want to look backwards, we want to look forward. Don't borrow that
So
one.
you're going to motivational pep talk him.
So I'm going to motivate them, but the
Not
blame.
put him on your car.
But the blame game is, it doesn't make any sense to blame anybody because you climbed those 3 steps, and no matter what's in front of you, you're a fighter. He's a fighter. Anything could happen when you got a guy with 8 or 10 ounce gloves throwing punches at you, and you can't avoid that. I can't promise you. Like I just told a fighter in my last show, I went through 10 different opponents for one guy. I have all the story, right? And I'm like, listen, I can do a lot of things. I can't put in the contract that you can't throw your right hand. I can just fight with your left. Like there's certain things as a fighter, you're going to have to learn how to adjust on the fly, whether it's your first fight or your 20th fight. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a fighter and you want to be looked after, that's what I can do for you. And I will give you the best possible matchup to match you evenly.
So you'll fight. So you would fight him. I guess what I'm asking you,
Well,
are you giving him a second chance?
Well, I didn't give him a first chance, so I can't give him a second chance.
That's fair. Are you giving him a first chance to fucking unfuck his career that he just that he lost his first fight?
Well, the first thing
Does
I
he
would
get another fight? How does this guy come back from his career?
Well, it's just the first. If it's the guy,
you give him a
is
chance?
it his first fight?
It was his first fight.
Listen, I'm always willing to give a chance, especially to new guys. I like new guys. I like new guys who've never done business with me because it's a chance for me to dispel all the vicious rumors about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I come in. That's why I got a hold of
So
you. So you know there's rumors about you.
100%.
Yeah, you're
Listen,
very aware
if
of
I
it.
was a nobody would talk about me.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah,
They
that's
talked
true.
about Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, Michael Jordan, and Bobby Hitz. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? If I wasn't if I wasn't what people perceived to be accomplishing something, nobody would even pay attention to me.
So what do you say? All right, so that's what you say to the fighter. What do you say to the?
Well, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
But I would also say, who was with you when this all started? Because to me, loyalty is a big thing.
Yeah.
And we need to recognize loyalty, and it's not everybody's fault of what happened, and you know, sometimes you just have to have a do-over with the right people in place. And when a lot of these guys are looking for the easy way out, and they want to cross the border and go to Indiana and buy their fight,
That's my next question.
well, then you're subject to whatever the fuck happens because you're dealing with people who aren't having anything to do with your career. They have no interest whether you win or lose or whatever happens. And to me, I have an interest first and foremost in a good fight. I have an interest in an even fight. I have an interest in the buying, paying public to see a good fight. I'm not interested in a 30-second blowout unless you deserved it and got it against a guy who doesn't go that way. But if you look across the ring and the guy falls down, I don't want to do fights like that. That's not a place for you to come if that's what you're looking for. My shows aren't for you.
I got to. So let's
And
talk.
records aren't indicative of talent. Just remember that.
Let's talk about a current event. Last 2 weeks ago, April 2nd, you had a fight in Rosemont.
Right.
There was a fight in Hammond in Indiana. Why did that happen? From a guy like me who's a business guy, who's interested in boxing, a boxer as well, I'm looking like, I got buddies fighting in Rosemont. I got buddies fighting in Indiana. You invited me to your fight in Rosemont, but I was I sponsored a fighter in Indiana. So I was torn, right? I had to pick one. And in my mind, I'm like, I can't be the only one who is contemplating which way to go here, because why would these guys have a fight on the same exact night in the same boxing community of Chicago? Like, I was confused, and like it was on a businessman decision. You guys split ticket sales to me, right?
Not even close.
That's what I thought in my head, because my ticket sale got split, right? I wanted to go see you, but
The fight was the next day?
same day.
Or was it? I'll be honest
Same
with you.
night.
Here, I'll be honest with you. The only thing I concern myself in Chicago is what sporting events are going on, what televised events might be going on to keep people home, what concerts are going on. Outside of that, I'm not a guy that studies boxing outside of what I'm doing. I don't care what the other guy does. Like, I don't care. I don't care. They could do a show right next to mine, and my show will be better because I work harder and I do a better show. So I'm not worried about the outside world doing that, because I'm not trying to compete with anybody.
So you're not.
But guys are trying to compete with
You
me.
weren't even aware.
So you
that
weren't
this
aware
fight
of
was
this.
going
I had no idea.
In my mind, I'm like, wow, I would want to plan away this. Do you think they were aware of it?
You know what? I don't know what they're. I don't know. I don't do business like them, so I don't
It's a small
know.
community. We're talking 45-minute drive. We have cross promotions and gyms. We have same
Yeah,
fighters
but
going.
yeah,
I'm
but
fighting here.
we had different fighters, different groups, different whatever. I have my own fan base that would never go there. So like.
So that's why I was wondering: is there a rivalry? Like never
No,
go.
I don't even like. I don't believe in all that, because to me, it's just business. You think McDonald's worries about how many hamburgers Burger King is selling? They open up right across the street from each other. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know.
So like
But
to
I do
me,
think they know a little bit. They probably do know how many hamburgers they sell just because they open up.
yeah, I
across
know,
the
but
street
I'm
from
just making a point.
I get it.
There's enough for everybody. What I won't do is try to steal somebody's fighter, try to tell a guy, hey, don't fight on that show, fight on my show. If you're committed, you're committed. God bless you. I'll find somebody else. Like, to me,
that's a good
I don't try to
motivation.
injure anybody's living. But other guys can't say the same thing about my living. Guys,
You feel like you get attacked a lot? You feel like you get attacked?
100%.
For sure.
All the time.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. But like, I don't care because
I
You're
find a
doing
lot
your
in
thing.
common with
You're
you.
doing your thing.
what?
I find a lot in common with you. I feel like I'm an outspoken guy. Either hate or love me. I get attacked a lot, and I'm getting used to it. I try to hide out more because the trauma of being attacked made me outlast. I've learned how to deal with some anger issues of like I go through because I want to protect what I believe in. And you've surpassed those. I'm still
Yeah,
going
I
through
I do not.
You don't get worked up.
Everyone, my staff will say to me, man, doesn't anything shake you? Like, I don't care because it's going to work out.
Yeah,
And if
it's
it
going to work out. It's going
and
to
it
work
doesn't
out.
work out, that's just how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure.
What I will do is if I give you my word as a promoter, I will do every single thing in my power to make sure that you fight, no matter what. Even the day of my event, I was trying to bring in a guy from New Jersey to fight somebody on my show. The guy accepted the fight. The fighter here accepted the fight. I got it all done, and the guy in Jersey's trainer would not let him fight. So imagine the
that.
expense.
Yeah, I know when you say
so
that.
imagine the expense of me having to fly a guy in on 2 hours notice, gonna pay him, but that's my level of commitment to guys that I commit to. I will stop.
need to fight.
I won't stop working till I'm told to stop working.
But then you find that fighter, and then he loses, and you find out he's heavy, and then you try to put that fight together last minute, and then the other guy's career gets fucked. Did you ever get busted with that?
No, because
you're
it-
trying to troubleshoot.
No,
and you don't
because
know.
at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in fighters winning fights. Weight doesn't win a fight. Weight does not win a fight.
All right.
There's 140-pound guys running around this city that I know are ballsy enough to go fight a guy 200 pounds on the street. So why would you be afraid of a guy that's 155 in the ring when you have balls enough to face off?
Just an excuse they use. Fuck it. It's overlooked. If it's 5 pounds difference, quit crying about it. I don't want to
go
hear
for it.
about
Right, but see, once again, That's a wide scoped question. It's a relative question. So it's taken on a case by case basis. That's like me calling a body shop and saying, hey, listen, I got a 1972 BMW with a big scratch on the left side. How much is it going to cost to fix it? You don't know till you bring it there, let the guy look at it. So to me, with your question in relative terms, you know, a few pounds here or there should not make a difference. But now if you break the guy down and he has this much experience, and now that's a different story. But if they're even in skill set and one guy's a little bit heavier, I don't see that being a big problem, because at the end of the day, you weighed in the night before. You're already heavier anyway, so you're not weighing what you weighed in the night before. So what's the difference? Fight the guy. And literally, when I took the fight with George Foreman, and the media met me at the airport because they got wind of it, and the reporter said to me, I heard you're going to take this fight at short notice. What do you think? And I say, listen, if some guy out in that tournament, that guy in that orange jacket said to me, I want to fight you, what am I going to say to him? Oh, geez, I didn't train from you. I'm a fighter. I'm going to fight. And that's really honest.
Fight that guy in the orange
So let me ask you a question. What was your most memorable fight? Your career? Is that it, or just because of the cloud, or?
I got to tell you, early on it was fun. It got not to be fun anymore. The butterflies turned into pterodactyls, and it got more serious and more serious. I wouldn't say it was fun. I like the Gary Reed fight was a fun fight. Gary Reed was like a 6-time Kansas City Golden Glove champion. Yeah. It was my first fight after the Foreman fight. I was in Detroit. I came back in like beautiful shape. I was cut. I was ripped. I was in great fucking shape. Best shape of my career ever. And had a ton of people come out. I must have had 5 busloads of people. I mean, it was great. The fan support, my fans turned out for me great. Awesome. And this is like 6 months after the Foreman debacle. Yeah. Anyways, not knowing anything about Gary Reed, because back then you don't have videotape, you don't have internet, you have nothing. He's loosening up, all of a sudden the bell rings, he turns southpaw and comes out. I turned to my corner, I remember going, now what the fuck do I do? They go, just fight him. So I had to learn on the job how to fight the guy. In a fight that I could have stopped him in probably 1 or 2 rounds, even though he was a tough guy. And he was a naval officer.
Ooh, discipline.
Yeah, so he's disciplined, and he was a tough guy. And what's really nice is that about a year ago, his son reached out to me and asked me if I had any pictures from the fight. I sent him some pictures, and it was really, really nice. It's amazing that you have to beat somebody up that did absolutely nothing to you. Yeah. But then you form friendships and relationships, and the fact that his son reached out to me saying, my dad's Gary Reed, he fought you, and it was such a pleasure to speak to this young man, because I have a lot of respect for his father, because his father was a really experienced guy, and we had a great fight. It was a back and forth, and at the end of maybe the 4th round or whatever, he shot a straight left hand, boom, hit me right there, and he wobbled me, and I grabbed him. I'm like, holy fuck. I saw that TV screen. I'm like, holy fuck. I'm saying to myself, and I'm holding on to him like I loved him. And the bell rang, and I went back to my corner. I'm like, I'm like, they're like, are you okay? I go, I think so. I said like that. So I got back up, boom. I don't sit down in my corner. I wasn't a sit down guy. So I'm just standing there. And then the bell rang for the next round. And I came out and just hit him with a straight right hand. I knocked him down, and it won me the fight. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was a great action. I couldn't have asked for a better fight coming off of that loss. And then my next fight out, I'm in a fight with a guy who I should have dusted up, and crazy how I think, because I'm such a respectful guy and I'm all about protocols, which was always my fucking problem. I should have thought about myself.
Sometimes that is a problem, being too nice a fucking guy.
Well, so my manager, we go to have dinner the night before with a friend of hers, a guy. We're fighting in another state. The next day, I get in the ring and I see the guy who I had dinner with is the fucking referee. I'm like, oh, what the fuck, man? So this guy I'm fighting is grabbing and holding. It was a dirty street fight. And my style was normally like, I love that. Let's go, motherfucker. Let's go. I didn't want this guy to think that I was a punk, and just because I had dinner with him the night before, I could do whatever I wanted to do in that ring. I was trying to respect his job, which was the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah, I never really, okay, that's
Okay.
okay with the ref, yeah.
Yeah, so it was weird. Well, we were just friends. The referee had no outcome on
Oh,
the
was the
scoring.
ref not, was it ref or judge you knew?
He was a ref.
Oh, the ref.
The ref. So this guy was holding me, and it's like, so now we're in a clinch, and he goes to do this to me, and I just stay my ground. I break my ankle in the fight.
That's the injury you were talking
Right,
about.
break my ankle in the
before.
fight, and it's like, motherfucker, and it's like, and I yelled at my manager. I said, why would you put me in that fucking position? You know how I am. I'm a respectful guy. I was always taught to be respectful of everybody. Looking back now, I wouldn't have given I would have done whatever I could do. But at a young age, I was still very much about protocols, doing the right thing, being respectful. And to be a fighter, you have to have you can't have that, you have to have an edge to you. And I had an edge once I got more, because I only had 3 amateur fights and I turned pro. So it was like, every time out was new for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was like, that was an experience that if I wish I could have a do-over, give me a do-over there, because I wouldn't care. And I don't know why, but it's just that upbringing I had with discipline and respect. And to this day, I still call whatever my mother and father's friends that are still alive, I still call them Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, and that's just how I was raised. So I didn't want this guy to think that I'm a punk just because we had dinner night before I could do whatever I want, which is a crazy way to think as a fighter. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But you have to be crazy to be a fighter anyways.
Yeah,
but that was
I'm
the
not
crazy.
crazy
But it was crazy to think that way.
For sure.
And I'm mad at myself. I'm actually mad at my mom and dad for instilling that discipline in me and that respect. You let me down, but it was a good thing. It's a good lesson, and I'm making a joke of it. But that's literally the gospel, God's honest, true story. I swear to God, it's true.
So there's a lot of negative stuff that gets, a lot of negative stuff that gets said about you. Obviously, I've never heard of it because I'm not.
Don't you love me? Don't you love me?
I think you're great.
Right?
Yeah, but I'm not in boxing. But
You're the new president of the fan club.
Yeah, I'll be the president.
Well, you get a bad rap. You're like, man, you
I don't care. Look at him.
No, I'm
He does look like a guy. Fernie, if you're watching this, Fernie, who does this guy look like? You know who he is. You know who he is.
So let me ask you a question. You're getting, you get a little bit of a bad rap, and there's a lot of people obviously that didn't kind of acknowledge the positivity that you instilled into their careers. Maybe now, are there people that that from your past that are very thankful now and reach out, that positivity?
Yeah,
there's guys that know what you did for them.
That's a great question. It's crazy you say that. So there was a fighter that I had delivered to the junior middleweight championship of the world against Winky Wright, and prior to that, I had maneuvered his career beautifully through my program, got him all the way to where we need to be. Winky Wright was fighting a guy, Emmett Linton. Now, Winky Wright at the time was pound for pound the greatest fighter in the world at the time. Fights in Vegas. I think Roy Jones was fighting John Ruiz on the undercard, or we were on the undercard. We were the co-feature to that. So before the fight, the kid was acting up and acting crazy and broke camp and left town, all kind of crazy shit. So we get to the fight, and we're in Vegas, and I said, come on, take a walk with me. I walked him around the whole casino. I said, what do you see? What do you mean, senor? I go, what do you see? I go, do you see your name anywhere? He goes, no. I go, tomorrow night, go make yourself important, because right now you're not important. Go make yourself important. We win this fight, we're fighting De La Hoya for easily $1.5 million, our next fight. Go win this fight. And he didn't win. We fought a great fight, and it was a close fight, lost a close decision. About 2 years ago, he came to see me and just apologized for how he acted. He's like, man, I know you always had my best interests at heart, and I should have listened to you. And and I love this guy. There's a very few of my fighters that I love, but the ones I love are my friends for my life, and likewise. And this is one of the kids that really had a great future, and he allowed the outside world to get at him. And I think, listen, in life, you don't realize things till you're older. That's all part of growing up. Yeah. Literally, my high school girlfriend, I had to literally a few years ago, I totally I would still go see her father. So I literally had to go and like say, "Hey, listen, man, I'm sorry how I acted." Like I was, you know, my career was going. I was because we dated for a long time, and I was just a raving maniac, girl, just crazy. And it's just like, you know, like geez, no one deserves. I mean, no one deserves to be put through that, you know.
Well, I mean, and it's also tough to be in your position, you know. I mean, like, you know, you're a boxer, you're doing big things, you're moving around, you're
Handsome, don't forget handsome.
you're a good-looking guy.
Don't forget handsome.
Yeah, and then hey, that leads me to the next subject, acting. Like how, like I've heard all this shit, and how the hell do you have time to become an actor?
Something
What the fuck happened? Like, how did
No,
that
it was something that I always wanted to do, and you know, I can go back to high school in an article they did. I had my rock band, and they did an interview with me, and they asked me, who did I emulate as a singer? And I said, Dirty Dan Buck of the Boys, which was a local band that had great success, and Bon Scott of AC/DC. And what do you want to do when you're done? You know, if you're in music, I said, well, I'd like to be an actor.
Yeah.
So it's something that I always wanted to do. I was in theater class in high school. I was in chorus, if you can believe that. I did chorus because there's a lot of hot girls in there. And I took theater because there's a lot of hot girls in there, to be honest with you.
How'd you get the gigs?
From what?
Acting. How'd you actually?
Like, how'd you break in? Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you. God, it was, I got lucky, man.
Was it before or after boxing?
After boxing. Well, before boxing, during boxing, I went out for a role in a movie that was being done here. Not for a role, just to be part of whatever, to get discovered, called Wildcats or something. Yeah. Goldie Hawn, Wesley Snipes. And then we're in the casting call line, and I'm just like, I'm not waiting in this fucking line, and I left. So I stopped it there. Years later, geez, how'd this happen? Friends of mine had the movie studio here, and they were filming a show. Might have been the first thing, I don't even remember. No, Untouchables was being filmed here. And
It's not a good film.
no, it was the TV show. William Forsythe, who later became, I acted opposite of him in Mob Doctor. He was the mob boss, but he played Al Capone. So they brought me on as a fighter in this episode at Windy City Gym. And, you know, I made some connections and just maintained friendships. And I liked it, but I didn't pursue it. And then I got called again to go into something. And then by then I was already into my career as a promoter. I had a restaurant. And then they were filming a show here, Early Edition. And the writers, let me think. I did food for the set, and then they came to me and said, we got a part for you. So they gave me a part. I had a speaking role. I was with the main characters. Kyle Chandler, who's a great actor. You know who he is? No. This guy don't know anything. I don't know. This guy don't know nothing. I've asked, you watch movies, right?
No, I honestly don't. No, I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
So Kyle Chandler, is a great actor. So he was the lead in this TV show. So I acted opposite of him. So I did that. I'm like, cool. Then I did some independent films, and then I kind of stepped away. Oh, then I was in a show called a movie, Kissing a Fool. David Schwimmer was the lead. You know who that is?
No.
Me either. Yeah. Anyways. The guy who was doing the film was in my restaurant. I had a restaurant that was at Kinsey and State called Nana's Cafe. It was really hugely successful. It was great. And there's a guy in there one day reading the paper, and I did an independent film, and in the entertainment column, there was something about it. He goes, hey, this is you, right? I go, yeah. He goes, I'm in town doing a movie. He said, how would you like to get a couple of days on the set? I go, I would love that. I told my manager, listen, I'll be back. How many days? 3 days. I'll be back in 3 days. Threw in the keys. Boom, went there. They had a trailer for me, Bobby on. I'm like, holy fuck. And I was called what's a principal extra. So my scenes were with the lead characters, and they used my name, Bobby, give me a drink, whatever. I was a bartender. I didn't have any speaking lines, but I had some good FaceTime. Well, that guy was a guy named Doug Ellen. You know who Doug Ellen is?
Zero.
You know Doug Ellen?
You know, afraid to not know your guy.
You know who he is. You know the TV show Entourage?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's the creator of Entourage.
I thought Mark Wahlberg was. I thought he was a director.
No, Doug Ellen's the creator of Entourage. So that was this guy at my restaurant. So then we fast forward, and literally I was just doing my thing, and a friend of mine saw me. He goes, hey, what are you doing? I go, nothing. He goes, I'm working on this show called Mob Doctor. He goes, Bill, you know, remember Bill from El Capone? Oh yeah, Bill Forsythe. He goes, he is so unhappy with the guys they're bringing him. He goes, you would be perfect. He goes, come to the set, come to the studio tomorrow. We got to do this. So I showed up at the studio. They size me up. Bill comes in and talks to me. He goes, yeah, Bobby, I remember you from whatever. Yeah, let's do this. So I get the role as his lead guy, as his right-hand guy. He's the mob boss. So now they give me my suit and they bring me a pair of gym shoes. I go, what are those? Well, those are your shoes. I go, well, hang on. I got a suit, a tie on. I'm wearing gym shoes. I said, gangsters don't dress like that. I said, and we don't shoot like this, and we don't do that. I said, so bring me a pair of dress shoes. It's size 14, and let's do this thing. So Bill was like, because that's what he was, because the guys there bringing him were supposed to be heavies, and they looked like Biff and Cliff and, you know, Daniel, and they didn't look like, you know, I guess I had the look he wanted. So now I'm doing this. So I'm in a couple episodes. One day it was like my day off, and I get a call. And they're like, where you at? So I'm out, I'm working out, I'm at the gym. We're shooting at Lakeshore Drive and whatever by Lincoln Park Zoo. How long till you get here? How can you get here? I go, take me probably an hour. Good, because Bill has shut down production. I go, what do you mean? He goes, he will not shoot unless you're here. So he went in and said, listen to me, Bobby's my right-hand guy. I'm a mob boss. I would never be anywhere without him. Anytime I shoot, he works. And for an actor to stick his neck out like that,
that's a big deal.
it doesn't happen. So Bill, thank you. That was great. And that's how I got my reoccurring role. Oh, then they wrote in some words for me. I got shot at the end, but that's then all of a sudden I went in and got my acting coach, went to acting school. Like I literally got my agent, and then then it just kind of blossomed from there. But being an actor, you get used to hearing the word no a lot.
Absolutely.
Like you go on audition and you might kill the audition and you hear no, and it's like, it's just it's just.
What the fuck did I do wrong?
But I got to be honest with you. So being an actor has really helped me in other aspects of my life because I don't take anything too serious. And once you walk out of that audition, you don't even think about it anymore. And they always say your best audition is in the car ride home, because you're in the car and you're still doing the lines like, oh, I should, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's really helped me in the later aspect of my life because I've learned to not take myself so serious, not to sweat the small stuff, not to let things bother me. And guess what? In life, you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you get what you need. Who did that song? Rolling Stones. Okay.
Oh, no fucking shit.
I did know the Rolling Stones.
Doesn't know movies, doesn't know music. What does he know? He's just a pretty face.
You know what's funny is that I was an actor too. I did acting
You look
as
like
well.
it. You look like it.
I know exactly how you feel and what you mean. So it resonates.
Yeah, so it's great. So what was cool is that I got on a show one time where they hired me as an actor and as a coordinator because there was a boxing scene. It was a show called Mind Games with Christian Slater and Steve Zahn. So I had to put a whole crew of guys together, all the fighters. I brought my son, brought some guys, and I brought one of the fighters on, Sammy Horowitz, who actually shouldn't have been a fighter, should have been my CPA with a name like that, Sammy Horowitz, right? CPA, Sammy Horowitz, not Sammy Horowitz, the fighter. Anyways, he comes on the set, and he was like this. Just got bit by the bug, and I'm like, oh my God, it happened. Like I witnessed the whole evolution of like this guy, like he found what he loved. Now here's a kid who had a troubled past in the penitentiary for 10 years. Just a bad kid that needed direction. So a friend of mine who knew him brought him to me. We got him into fighting, and he was a fucking handful. But when he came on this movie set, he was like,
that was it.
Made it.
Wow, now he starts going. Now I see him off in the corner, got like 10 people, the girls from makeup there and the hairdressers are talking. I went and gave him a nice rib shot. Sam knocked it off. He's over there holding the court like he belongs there. Sam, shh, be quiet. Like there's a pecking order. Like all of a sudden he's on like he's a big star. Hey! But that's the beauty of Sammy. Sammy's a guy that I say, and you won't even understand this analogy because you're too young, but I said in a past life you were a Fuller Brush salesman. And back in the olden days, there was a thing called Fuller Brush. They were door-to-door salesmen, and they would not take no for an answer till they sold you a brush or two.
He's a door salesman
Right.
alone.
So they stick to right. So Sammy's the kind of guy. If he was a running back, he finds the openings. So now he goes from me doing that with him to him becoming a stuntman, to him becoming an actor, to him marrying a beautiful actress, Sari Sanchez, to now becoming one of the top stuntmen in the game, and now he's a writer on the TV show Power.
Oh, really?
And
I know
it's
that
like
show. We know that. We know something.
right, and it's like the evolution of this guy, and I was happy to be part of that. And those are the things that you do, that you try to do for people. You put them in situations to
Put them in the right
succeed.
place to level up.
And you know, like so I was so happy that Sam has really developed, and maybe one day you write a part for me or something. Your Godfather, come on, what the fuck? But
So that's what we're getting at. He needs a part.
yeah,
We're gonna put
we'll
the-
be all right. We'll be all right.
We're gonna send Sam.
We'll be
We're
okay.
gonna send him the snippet. We're gonna send
But I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of Ray Flores. You know who Ray Flores is? No. Ray Flores.
He's just doing this on purpose now.
I'm like, I'm glad you asking me. These guys are like,
So Ray Flores is a guy who's one of the foremost ring announcers in the business today, commentators. But Ray came up through my program, and I'm so happy for his success. We've developed a lot of guys. There's a guy, Mike Williams, who's, I think he's the Michael Buffer of the UFC for Bellator.
oh, just the announcers. We're talking about your listed announcers, like Michael
Right.
Bellator.
So he came up through my program. So we've had some success and some sex, but some sex with guys
too.
with
That's
guys
important
who have
too.
come through our program and have done other things and done better things in their life besides being part of Bobby Hitz Boxing.
So you've created a good program. You've had a lot of success from all of the people in your program, from trainers, fighters, boxers, to whoever's involved with you, I guess you're saying. And you created, what I'm getting from you is that you've created a platform. And when you get a fighter, you put him and you place him in your platform. It's no more like, this is what we think we're going to do. You know what to do with the fighter. You're putting him through your process, and you're going to, and the outcome is going to be a successful fighter. And you
I mean,
believe
it
in
not,
yourself.
not only that, but it sounds like just anyone that's part of the Bobby Hitz program, like whether they're a fighter or they're helping with whatever, there's always, you know, it sounds like you always try to find a way to help people project their career no matter what it is.
Well, you hope, and those are the ones that have the desire to do better. Some guys just want to be a boxer the rest of their life and don't know how to reinvent themselves.
Do you think that Bobby Hitz is the biggest professional promotions in boxing in Chicago
Right now,
right now?
I mean, that's like being the tallest little person. You know what I mean?
You know, that's fair. I think that you are. I think that you are in Chicago, but there's nobody.
Well, but here, trust me. I don't listen to that, because guess what? I just met with a young kid who's going to do his first show, and very nice kid, Julio, and he said to me, you know, why have you been in it so long? I said, hang on. I'm going to ask the first question. Why the fuck do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, there's been a ton of guys, especially the guy that looks just like you, that think this is easy. And that, you know, and if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's not easy. Me being the biggest guy here, because I'm really the only one doing it. I'm the only one dumb enough to really do it and throw myself in there. There will be other guys that'll come in and try me, and I love that. I love the competition because I get to roll my sleeves up.
So you're saying you're here to hold it. So you are. So you're like, yeah,
I'm not
trying
going.
here.
Listen, the only way I go anywhere is when I decide to leave myself. And there's not one person that's going to make me not do what I do. Nobody, you know. And so to me, you guys can come and try with all your ideas and all your nonsense. At the end of the day, like I said before, I believe that I'm really good at what I do. I believe that I have the best interests of everybody I do business with, whether it's my fighters, my sponsors, my venues, no matter who it is. I've had a long-term relationships because we just try to do it the right way. So to me, you know, the guys that want to come along, and I look at it as the tortoise and the hare, that old proverb. Have you heard of that? Wow, finally. Salute, there's a God. So I'm the tortoise. I'm just going to keep doing what I do, cross the finish line. I'm in not a hurry to get anywhere. And anyone that's in a hurry, go somewhere else and do your boxing, because here's what happens. These guys that are out there buying all their fights for themselves, which is cool. You want to make that invest in yourself? That's great. Everybody should invest in themselves in some aspect. But here's what happens. Your record becomes better than your talent. Then what do? Then you're fucked.
That's
Because-
that's why you got to have you on.
Because you're not as good as your record, and that's when it becomes tricky to keep that O from not going.
So that's what you say to a boxer. Now I want to ask, what would you say to like whatever blows your hair back, a studio like ours, who has a passion for boxing and wants to plug and play in the sport, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and we want to be, you know, keeping everybody
Productive,
happy.
yeah, just
And
productive.
just like this. So how do
Promoting
we?
people.
Here, listen, you want to make $1 million in boxing?
No.
Want to make $1 million in
no,
boxing?
no.
Do you?
No.
I want to make $1 million in anything.
Come in with 10 million. You have $1 million left when it's all said and done.
No, we
Here, what-
want to know how to. What
here.
I want to know is how do we get our in? We have a promotion studio.
What I think for you, what I see for you, is your ingenuity and your vision for promotion as far as branding. And there's a place in this business for guys like you, for the branding aspect of it, because it's really important to brand a guy and to have that brand. Because so many guys miss it. They think just because they get on there and, you know what I mean? You know, I've seen your videos, I've seen your stuff. Me personally, I wouldn't want that music attached with me. Some of that music a little risque for me. But I'm old school. And I have to understand you're dealing to the younger audience, which is something I have to kind of get accustomed to.
Gotcha.
Dealing with young people. Not that I'm that. I'm an old young guy. You know.
You're
But
cool, you're cool.
but at the end of the day, like, I get what you're doing, and I think it's great. I think your facility is great. This is fucking really cool, and this is something that I always had in my mind to do, but on a bigger scale, which it just wouldn't work. But it's still an idea I had, you know, for many years. And I think you're on the right track with the marketing and the branding and getting yourself attached with some great local kids to help bring their presence
Yep.
to the forefront.
That's
You know,
that's what we're doing. Well, how could you, with your skill set, and all of you been in the sport for 30 years, I think some of the fights I've been in Chicago, I went and none of those fights were streamed or none of them were showcased. A lot of these fighters have fights with no portfolio, and I think, you know, it's very important for these fighters to carry this portfolio and have something to carry on with their career. So we were going to bring streaming to the events. What would you say if we came and said, hey, Bobby Hitz, can we put your fight on a streaming line and can we put it on the internet, like live on a network, like on Showtime, and give these pro fighters the debut that they deserve and showcase it?
yeah, if you could do the streaming the right quality way, I think there's an avenue there. To me, it's something, once again, something I've always thought about, but it takes manpower. And I am so entrenched just doing my fights, because I'm involved in every aspect of my fights, finding the opponents, getting involved with the spot, like all that shit. Like I can only do so much. And a smart man knows what he doesn't know, like I said before, and you got to surround yourself with smarter people. So if there were divisions, like these guys do the streaming, this, you know, like that's kind of what I'm seeing to go to the future and go to the next level. It's like, I know I have to tweak a little bit what I'm doing. I have the foundation, but I think times are changing, and I have to change with the times. And because what worked for the past 30 years, I'm going to need to tweak that a little bit and go to the next level. We've done some streaming and with some success, but in the same token, a lot of times when you're building a guy, when you're building a guy, that's just a dog. But when you're building a guy, you sometimes want to fly under the radar also. You don't want there to be too much information on him, because too much information can scare people. Like, I have a fighter that only has 2 fights, but he has all these videos up there, and everybody is scared to death of this guy. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why.
So it's a good thing or a bad thing? And that's
Double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword.
I had a mother, a momager, one time, who was managing her son, and I literally offered them.
I think I know the fighter you're talking about.
No, you might not. 15. No, it wasn't. No.
Is that an amateur situation?
It was pre-Tommy Hughes. It wasn't Tommy Hughes.
I
I love
you
Tommy.
there. He's great.
I love Tommy. I love his mother, his
fights,
family. Great family.
Great family.
No, this is long before that. Anyways, I must have given them 15 different opponents. They turned everybody down. From winning records, losing records, so-so records, black, white, Chinese, anything. I covered all the bases, covered everything. Nothing was good enough. To the point to where the mother said to me, I thought it was the perfect guy. I go, this guy's perfect. Oh, no. We can't fight him. Why can't you fight this guy? This is like number 14 out of 15. What's wrong with this guy? Did you see his video? Did you hear how he talked? I go, whoa, what'd you just say to me? Yeah, did you see his interview? It's unbelievable how that guy talked. I go, we're not having a debate, we're having a fight. Like, what's the matter how he talked? And because this guy put a video up and he was eloquent and talked,
Scared people.
Scared everybody.
Like before the fight.
So those types of things can be detrimental. So it's a double-edged sword. You have to really make sure it's done the right way and not in and to me, I want to sneak up on people. I want my product to shine. I don't need all the flash and the bash going on. I want that when we're in the fight that we're not supposed to win because nobody thinks we're supposed to win except us, and then we win that fight. Now we've arrived. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
to answer my question, you do think that streaming and marketing fighters are good, but there can be bad protocol with that. That's with anything, no?
Everyone says, what do you think the downfall of this business has been? Technology. Technology has been horrible for this business.
Technology's been horrible in the fact that it's not introduced.
Well, it's bad for a reason, especially in our world. Like, I'll have fighters sign the contracts, yet he's a matchmaker for some other entity. He'll just go on the internet, Facebook friend request him or messenger him. Hey, I got a fight for you, and here,
Correct.
And that's not protocol. If I ever get desperate and do that to a fighter, first thing I say, hey, hi, it's me, Bobby Hitz in Chicago. I promote here. I have a show coming up. Who are your representatives? Who does your business? Here's my number. Please have them contact me. And if nobody does your business, then please feel free to call me when you've got a moment. So I always make sure I respect the process.
Respect the chain of command.
But guys in this business don't do that. So then what they're doing is they're backtracking. Once you catch them speeding, they call and say, hey, motherfucker, you call my fighter. Oh, geez, he didn't say nothing. I go, well, no, you're supposed to ask the question. He's a fighter. He's not going to say anything. He wants to hear what you have to say.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's your job to find out if I'm there. Not to mention, you looked at his career. You see he has 20 fights. He's had 19 of them with me. Who do you think he's with? I don't know. Let's take a guess. That'd be me. You know what I mean?
So what do you think about guys that have utilized platforms such as YouTube and built such a massive following, kind of like Jake Paul and these guys, and that are competing with professional boxing?
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. Once again, they're bullshitting the public. These young kids don't know a left hook from a fish hook. And listen, he's laughing all the way to the bank. I get it. But any boxing purist,
they're not going to.
I think the boxing purists is kind of they're older. We're not seeing any more boxing purists.
That's my whole point.
Who are we really marketing to?
But these younger kids have to understand what they're buying into is not real. It's an exhibition. It's not a real fight. It's not.
That's reality of what they're believing, though. So really, what can we do?
Right. That goes back to my thing about technology. You guys have got your heads buried in this shit rather than being in the real world and figure out what's going on.
We can't fight against that.
You believe everything you read, see, and hear. It's not true.
I know, but that's what
why wouldn't you think about maybe marrying up with that technology and saying, okay, well, we can't necessarily fight it, so why don't we join forces with it?
Because we have rules here at the moment that won't allow me to do that.
Oh, okay.
So I could never put a fight on like that because it wouldn't be allowed. Exhibitions aren't allowed here. It's not allowed.
Yeah.
So
it would be a sanctioned fight or a pro fight, but you could still stream it on your own and put it on a channel and charge.
But where would I do that though? See, I understand. I'm licensed. We are the only professional sport that is governed by local and federal government. So I have licensing requirements I have to adhere to. I can lose my license if I do something that's outside of what I'm right. So to me, it's very serious.
Oh, got it.
It's very serious.
It's a big team. So when you throw on your fights at the Rosemont, there's a lot that goes into those fights, and you already had it built. That's why you stay. That's why you don't move a lot.
Right. The infrastructure's there, number one.
Infrastructure's there.
But secondly, is what everybody has to realize is that I am not the final say in what goes on. The State Athletic Commission pretty much depicts to me what my show is going to be. So think about that. Think about going to work every day and someone telling you who your customer can be.
I read that about you. There was an article about you with the Rosemont governor, or there's some article I read with you who were talking with one of the higher ups in Rosemont works with you on your events at the Rosemont?
Well, the
mayor.
mayor's father was the mayor before he was for.
So if you're the kind of man, he stated that you kind of running the show around there.
Well, we started out in Rosemont, 30 years ago. We've been doing it ever since. And so I was in Indiana doing shows because things were just going to hell in a handbasket here because of the regulations and the way they were interpreting the rules. And like the business is hard enough without having that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I went to Indiana for like 9 years and promoted. And I ran to Mayor Stevens at a Bears game. He said, "Hitz, what are you doing? Come on, I got this spot. You got to come back." And so I'm happy to be back. I love Rosemont.
So he hooked you up. So like you said, someone's a little bit above you.
Well, he just said,
there.
"Listen, they have some venues here. Go take a look at them," because that was our hotbed. That's where we did boxing, and we had the best success. Was in Rosemont. It's the greatest town. It's centrally located.
Right there by
All
the
highways
airport.
lead to the airports there. You have hotels. You have everything you need to do an event. Everything.
It is.
So it's actually
setup for
perfect.
events.
That's great.
Perfect.
So I think that it's worked well for us and for our fans to come there. So it's been great.
So as we wrap it up, what is like one thing that you would change in your career so far out of everything you've done? What's the one thing that you maybe would have done different?
Nothing.
Nothing, everything.
Because it is what it is. You can't go back and second guess.
It's the best answer you could have.
Here,
gotta go second guess the answer.
listen. If you ask people, if you couldn't be yourself, who would you want to be? Everyone will say, "I want to be Mickey Mantle. I want to be this guy. I want to be Bobby Hitz. That's who I want to be. I wouldn't want to be."
Conceited motherfucker. You want to be who you want to be.
Yeah, but to me, listen, it takes the ups and downs in life to be able to battle through stuff. I didn't start life on third base and think I hit a triple. I started life in the fucking dugout. You know what I mean? Didn't even get up to bat. So to me, I've taken a business in an industry in conceivably the second largest, third largest market in the country, and we've had relative success. And success isn't, I don't mean success in the monetary fashion. I mean success in the fact that 30 years ago when I started out, I wanted to make my brand synonymous with boxing here. I believe we achieved that. I wanted to have a consistent program. I think we achieved that. I wanted to get a fighter to a world title and to a world championship. I did that. I pretty much have set out to do everything I started to do. And so to me, it's never resting on your laurels, and it's trying to reinvent yourself all the time. Like the last show was a very good show. Now, how do we come out and do better the next time and do better? Like to me, I always want to do better because you can never rest on your laurels in this business, because I could do the biggest, greatest boxing show ever to come to Chicago. The minute that show's over with, some guy could do a show in a VFW hall serving keg beer and ham sandwiches, and he's the next greatest guy. Everybody will flock to him because they all want part. So to me, I understand where I'm important. I'm not important anywhere, nowhere. These fighters don't think that I'm important. Nobody thinks I'm important, and that's okay. I don't have to be important, and I realize I'm not that important. But what's important to me is that if my name's attached, you're going to get your money's worth and see a good product. That's what's important to me, because tomorrow isn't promised to anybody. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. So for the moment, while I have an event going on, when it's my event, it's going to be quality, right? And then tomorrow we'll worry about tomorrow. You know what I mean?
So talking about tomorrow, what is your vision for
tomorrow? Yeah. I'm gonna go have lunch tomorrow.
There it is.
No. What's next? We're gonna do June 18th outdoors at the baseball stadium. I'm trying to put a really, really good rematch together, a solid fight from last year's show that was on their feet. People were and I didn't get to see the fight, unfortunately, because I was busy working. No, I was busy working.
Well, if we were streaming it, recording it, getting that content, we can show you the fight after.
Right.
So it's when is the date?
June 18th. My ring announcer kept saying June 11th. I'm like, where did you get June 11th from? I don't know.
And what's the location of that?
It's going to be at the baseball stadium in Rosemont. It's going to be the Parkway Bank Sports Complex baseball stadium there.
Where can our viewers find tickets?
Oh, we're not ready yet, but when we have them on sale, it's hitzboxing.com. That's HITZboxing.com. And remember, fight fans, boxing, it's better live.
There you go. Anything you want to ask, Kiefer?
My question is,
Funny you should say that. We're kind of in talks to write a script about something right now, so you're onto something there.
I like it. Great question.
But the bad thing about boxing movies is they all kind of end the same.
For sure.
The guy wins. And oh my God! Like so you have to tell the real, like, you know,
gotta
like
tell the real story.
there was a boxing movie done about my manager and about our situation called Against the Ropes, and Meg Ryan played my manager. And once Hollywood got a hold of that movie, they fucked it all up, because if they just would have told the true, real story, it was way more riveting and great. It was great theater. They Hollywooded it up and it sucked. The movie sucked. It was horrible. So, yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, Keeper?
So, random one is you constantly adapt with the sport and the way you go about it. Was there a real moment where you're like, you know what, I'm tired of adapting?
Every day. Every day. My last show, I was convinced this was my last show. I don't care what happens, I'm done with this show. I had one fighter in particular that consumed my staff and my time for a month straight with his silliness. And at the end of the day, he didn't even end up fighting. And this guy just wasted everybody's time, and time again gave the guy the benefit of the doubt. Went over and above, spent money, did everything to keep this clown in the fight. And he really did us dirty. And it's like, you know what? I don't think I'll ever change who I am, though. Someone will get me again, because that's just how I am. Like, I have a heart for these guys, whether you guys want to believe it or not, I really do. And if you really spent the day with me to see what I go through, you might understand what my life is as a promoter. And I'm saying this to these trainers and boxers who don't know me or don't get me. I'm saying this to you guys. This business will consume you. It will. Phone calls at 2 a.m. Like, there is no business time in boxing. It's 24/7. My phone is right next to me and goes off no matter what I'm doing. And no matter what I'm doing, hey honey, I gotta grab this call. Keep doing it. Like, you gotta grab the call. It's like this is a minute business. So to me, it's a thankless business. It's a great business. It's the roller coaster. It's the amusement park of life. It's everything you could think of. It gives you everything. You see everything. The gypsies, tramps, and thieves. You see the liars, the whores. You see everything in this business. And you meet a few good men, which is important too. So, you know, I couldn't think of doing anything else, because I don't know anything else. So what else am I going to do?
All right, well, I guess that concludes it. Thank you so much, Bobby Hitz, for taking the time to come and being on Whatever Blows Your Hair Back. I hope that we get to work with you in the future on whatever.
Yeah, I would love it.
You got going on. I think we got something good going on. You obviously got something good going on.
Yeah.
And thank you for your time, man. We appreciate it.
No, thank you, man. Thank you.
That's it. Whatever blows your hair
This is
back.
when you punch him.
Thank you
This is
so
when you
much.
punch him.